Hello, everyone. Random Dan 23 here once again. And as I was saying in my previous video, which is uploading shortly before this, I wanted to do the continuation of a short I started, I believe, in September. I know it's been months since I've had some activity here on the channel. But, anyways, I want to work on that with the new year and try to get a routine settled in where I can make regular content and regular videos for anyone that might come across the channel and might actually be interested in watching. But, anyways, if you haven't figured it out already, the main track in that short was the track for Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive from 1986. And of course, that was AC/DC's Who Made Who. And it was included in the film because at the time, King was a pretty decent fan of AC/DC, and I guess he felt he was honoring them by including their soundtrack in the movie, which fit the movie very well. And it was definitely a good choice to do so. One of the facts about the movie is it was the only movie that Stephen King wrote and directed himself. Uh, Other classics such as Christine, Carrie, Salem's Lot, just to name a few. Stephen King never directed those movies. He wrote the stories. Of course, the books about said story, but usually somebody else took the director's chair and did a movie about them. This was the only one he wrote and did himself, so it makes it unique in that aspect. And unfortunately, King himself didn't think it was that good with his directing skills, and he often critiqued the movie as a moron movie and said he would never direct another again because of that. One of the other facts that I came across was that he was under the influence of, I believe, cocaine while filming the movie, and whether that had anything to do with him thinking that the movie was distorted because of his directorial debut, I don't know, but that's one of the other things I've heard. Along with that, it's one of the only horror movie situations that I could actually see happening. There's one other one, and people may agree with me, they may not agree with me, but it's one situation I could actually see happening besides a zombie apocalypse, which I think could be very likely as well if things really went the wrong way with our government and, God forbid, any type of radiation or whatever that would bring zombies back to life. But getting off that subject, the plot of this movie is one I could see happening as well, especially with AI and all the technology that we have to date. We have some 80s stars in this movie, such as Emilio Estevez and Pat Hingle. Those were the only two that really stood out in the cast list that I've seen. I'm sure there might be some other ones that you've seen in other movies, but those two were definitely ones that I've seen in other movies and that I would say was popular during the 1980s when this movie came out. The plot of the movie is what makes it so interesting is that machines come to life because the intro in the beginning of the movie tells us that Earth has entered the orbit of a comet, and the comet's name I believe was Ray M, and it actually made like a green neon glow around the Earth. And in the movie at nighttime, you could actually see the glow in the sky. So, with the Earth being in orbit of this comet, machines like come to life, I guess, from the radiation, from what I understand. And it was later mentioned in the movie that this comet was some type of UFO, some type of alien interaction was going on there. I'm not. I'm thinking that's the other part of the plot of what caused the machines to come to life. But it's very terrifying if you think about it. Machines that we use for everyday tasks coming to life to attack and murder us. Ooh, it's not something I'd want to see. And as you see in the movie, it's very nasty what happens when machines have a vendetta against the humans that run them. They're very hostile, very murderous. They do anything they can to mass murder humans in this movie, and as I said, some of it's pretty gruesome. There's basically survivors end up in a truck stop. And for most of the movie, that's what it's focused on. These survivors, people that are trying to survive this machine apocalypse, I guess you would say. And they all end up at the Dixie Boy truck stop. And there we have Emilio Estevez, who is a cook there. And we have, as I said, Pat Hingle, who is his boss. And they end up being stuck here because machines take over the world and things get quite gnarly. There's really no getting out of this place without machines seeing you and potentially murdering you. So they end up stuck here, and along the line, other people end up coming to the truck stop and also getting, I guess you would say, stranded there because if you enter the building, you're pretty much there. If you try to exit, something's something's looking to take you out, whether it be a truck or a, most of it's trucks because, of course, it's a truck stop. But there's also other machines there that didn't want anybody to leave, such as a bulldozer and a machine gun turret that the military would use. But they come along later on in the movie. So basically, people are stuck at this truck stop, and it's a matter of figuring out how you get out of there and how you survive what's going on, or even figure out what's going on. And it's very unfortunate because some of these people just do stupid things and end up getting killed. Like Pat Hingle, who's Mr. Hendershot in the movie. He has an arsenal underneath his building, which don't get me wrong, comes in handy when fighting these machines. But he ends up getting taken out because of stupidity, and it's unfortunate, but that's what happens. And the only one that has really a good deal of sense is Emilio Estevez's character, which I believe his name was Bill Robinson in the movie. And he basically leads the other characters to, I guess you would say, a salvation in a sense, because he gets them out of the building eventually and off to an island where there is no machines, there's no motor vehicles allowed. And that ends up being the plan on how to get out of there and how to survive, because eventually the Earth will leave the orbit of this comet that's causing all this commotion and destruction with this machines. Basically, you have a ringleader. One of the trucks is the ringleader. They call it the Goblin. It has like a goblin face on it. It's a toy truck in all actuality. And this truck ends up becoming the ringleader. And it's really, really quite funny because, in a sense, like, these trucks just circle the building over and over and over just to make sure when no one leaves. And basically holds the humans hostage in the Dixie Boy, which is the name of the truck stop, if I didn't mention it. Holds them hostage in this place. And it's just sort of comical to see these trucks driving around and around and around just for that purpose. And so the Goblin is the leader of the pack, and of course there's some other trucks too. There's a big truck, there's a Miller truck, I know there's a toilet paper truck. I'm not sure what brand it was. I know it got blown up with one of the rockets from Mr. Hendershot's arsenal. And eventually the machines get tired of these people not going in or out, and I know they end up attacking the building. The bulldozer attacks the building, pushes Mr. Hendershot's car through it, and of course he's angered by that and ends up firing a rocket at the bulldozer. Unfortunately, the turret gun gets the best of him, and so yeah, you have a lot of commotion going on, and Most of the movie's focused on that. You also see some other things in the movie of different areas and mass murder that's going on close by. And one of the gas station attendants, his son, is out playing baseball when all this goes down. And you see his coach get killed by a soda machine, which is quite an interesting way to die. And also a steamroller that comes through and takes some of the kids out on the team. And the kid's trying to go back to the service station to get to his dad. And in the meanwhile, he goes through some neighborhoods, and it's like, wow, anything you could imagine has come to life and killed people, including an ice cream truck, which is quite horrifying when you think of the purpose of an ice cream truck attracting kids and happiness. And in this movie, that's not the case. So he sees all this, trying to go through these neighborhoods and try to get to his dad. And like I said, you have an ice cream truck, you have a lawnmower, you have radios, the most random things just taking people out. And it's just like, wow, 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 wow. What is the world coming to in this movie? And unfortunately, he never gets to his dad because his dad gets killed by one of the trucks at the Dixie Boy. So that's unfortunate. And, I don't want to ruin the entire movie. So I'm just hitting the highlights of it. And it gets to the point in the movie where the trucks, can drive around the building all they want. It's all well and good until they get low on fuel. And to combat this problem, the turret gun that arrives at the Dixie Boy to keep the hostages in line actually uses Morse code to translate a message that the kid figures out. He eventually gets to the Dixie Boy, the gas station attendant's son. He eventually gets there, and he's just so happens to be a Boy Scout and can figure out the Morse code of the turret gun. And it basically bargains with them that if they refuel the trucks, that they'll let them live. They'll spare their lives if they refuel the trucks so they can continue on their rampage of driving around and doing whatever they do, besides killing people and keeping people hostage. So, you have that part as well, which is sort of comical in a sense, because it's like, wow, these machines know how to get around problems and basically enslaving the humans that made the machines. And there's even a part where the waitress lady, she just loses her mind because she can't fathom that these machines have taken humans over. She commonly says we made them, that they can't do what they're doing, but unfortunately these machines don't give a crap. They don't give a crap what this lady thinks, and she ends up getting taken out by the turret gun as well. And so there's that. And eventually the hostages get out. They actually get out from an underground sewer underneath the Dixie Boy building. They get out and they outsmart the trucks and the machines for a while at least. And eventually the trucks get wise to it and start crashing into the Dixie Boy, and they end up destroying the whole entire truck stop pretty much. And the goblin actually catches wind of where they're going, and he follows them, the ringleader of the trucks, the Green Goblin. And they end up at a marina where they jump on this boat to go to the island where there's no machines. And the Green Goblin attempts to kill one of the survivors when he stops to steal a ring off a dead lady's corpse. And the Green Goblin takes him out, and the hero of the movie, Emilio Estevez, ends up taking the Green Goblin out with one of Mr. Hendershot's rockets and blows the whole truck up. Ironically, shoots it in the mouth and then ends up blowing the whole truck up, and once the fire ignites in the engine. So it's good because then they get off to the marina, off to the boat, and get off to this island. And the end of the movie, it tells us that all the survivors of the Dixie Boy were still survivors, and they got to the island and stayed there till the Earth left the orbit of Ray M. the comet that was causing the radiation, bringing the machines to life. And like I said before, there was mention of a UFO and I guess alien activity where aliens were using the radiation to control the machines to kill humans so they could eventually take over the earth. And as I said, it's sort of loosely mentioned. Like I said, more or less, I thought it was the radiation from the comet causing all the commotion, but there's mention of a UFO and aliens as well. So you can believe what you want, or take it as it is mentioned. But yeah, so they end up surviving from what it says at the end of the movie. And as I said, I don't think it was a bad movie, especially with Stephen King's directorial debut. And well, his debut and his the end, I guess, too, because he never directed another movie as far as I know. And so yeah, Maximum Overdrive, a good horror movie, different, like a sci-fi horror type of deal. Very different because there was never a sequel made. There was never really another movie like it. I mean, there was a movie called Trucks that I haven't seen that I guess was like it. I haven't I can't make a comment on it because I haven't seen it, but it's the only one that, in my opinion, of its kind, and that's what makes it unique and what makes it a cult classic now. So if you haven't seen Maximum Overdrive from 1986, I definitely recommend you see it. And as I said, I don't like to spoil all the surprises in my reviews, so if I left things out, it's just so that you have something to watch with the movie, that it's not totally all spelled out for you. But as I said, I thought it was interesting and different and worth reviewing. Uh, so I apologize. I might be a little off my kilter here because this is my second review and I really haven't got a good format set out yet, but I am working on it to make things a little more smoother with them. So, as I said, good movie. I recommend it if you haven't seen it already. It's a classic from the 80s. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. You may not, I don't know, you may not get it at first, but by the end of the movie I think it could be appreciated for its place in history and its place in the genre of sci-fi horror. So hopefully you like this review. As I said, I'm just getting into a steady format of how I want to do them and how I want to produce the movies and present them to anybody that's watching. So until I come up with my next movie to review, I guess I really should do some other content besides movies because I made mention on my main platform here that I was going to review movies, cars, current events, stuff like that. So I've done a couple movies. So I guess I should do some other subject matter that I mentioned, but all in due time. And as I come up with ideas, I'll put some movies together and present them here on the channel. So for now, this is Random Dan 23, and as I said, I hope to be posting more regularly and more routinely. So thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.